Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is the sequel to Black Panther and the final movie in Phase 4 of the MCU. In this movie, King T'Challa has died from an illness which now leaves Wakanda without its king, without its Black Panther. The nation is at a very weak, dire state right now, and because of that, people are intruding, trying to take their sources, their vibranium, and they're also dealing with a threat coming from an underwater civilization called Talokan, led by Namor. The first Black Panther was great. It was awesome. I loved it. For some people, it was a cultural phenomenon. For some people, it's one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. I can't quite go that far, but I really did love it, and in particular, I think we can all agree Chadwick Boseman's performance of T'Challa is remarkable. He became a symbol. He became an icon. He became the face of a spectacular superhero movie. So initially, when we heard because of its success, both critically and commercially, we all knew that, oh, it's gonna definitely get a sequel. It has to get a sequel. Ryan Coogler even said he would come back to write and direct the sequel. So I was very excited for it. But then, a couple of years back, we found out that this whole time, Chadwick Boseman had been fighting his long battle with colon cancer. Eventually he lost it and he passed away. I usually don't get affected by celebrity deaths all that much, but that one in particular hit me. He's always seemed like a really good guy. I don't think he's someone who ever let fame go to his head, and he really always gave his all to performances, and especially as Black Panther. I 100% went on the record to say that they should scrap the project, that they shouldn't make Black Panther 2, shelve it, retire Black Panther in honor of Chadwick Boseman. So I will admit, I was very cautious going into this movie initially, because now I was just thinking to myself, okay, making a sequel without the star from the first movie, it doesn't seem like a recipe for success. I did go to my head and I thought to myself, are they just going to do this to make money? Because they know the Black Panther name's probably going to sell tickets? I really hope that's not the case. But then I saw the trailers and the marketing and everything that went into this, and that made me feel a lot better. I saw what the trailers were showing us, what the movie was probably going to be about, and it really made me think, okay, they're making this movie in part to honor Chadwick Boseman and his performance as T'Challa. This isn't just a cash grab. They actually feel there's a story to be told, and they want to honor him. And now I'm very happy to say that I'm glad this movie was made. This is a very worthy sequel to Black Panther, and it does a great job at honoring Chadwick Boseman. First, I want to touch on the performances in this movie. Across the board, everyone does a really good job. I'll get to the standouts in a moment, but what I really appreciate here is I felt, for the most part, everyone in this movie gave a very raw, real performance. Because someone on YouTube made a really good point that these actors, these people, they're mourning a friend here. We were mourning an icon and an actor that was Chadwick Boseman. They were mourning a friend. They all worked with him. They all starred in that movie with him. They all formed a really close connection with him. So you can imagine how we all felt after Chadwick Boseman died. They felt it a lot harder. So when scenes are getting emotional, when scenes are getting heavy, when, the character of T'Challa is being brought up, you really feel emotion there. You feel pain, you feel damage, you feel it. It feels real. It doesn't feel like a performance. It felt very authentic, and I really appreciated that. Getting into the standouts in this movie, I want to start off with Letitia Wright as Shuri. I loved her in Black Panther. I thought she was a great supporting character. I thought she was great comic relief. I really loved her role that she brought to the movie. It is always tricky, though, in a lot of different movies when the supporting character becomes the lead, because that is essentially what she becomes in this movie. She becomes the main character. But I really did feel she did a great job here. She, at times, had to portray what we know Shuri to be. She's witty, she's sarcastic, she's kind of cocky, she's funny. She has her genius level intellect, so we see that here. But what I really loved seeing from her in particular is you do see a very serious emotional side from her, and she crushes it. You feel it when she's scared. You feel it when she's sad. You feel it when the pressure's on her and she feels she really needs to step up here. Letitia Wright just knew she had a really tall task in front of her, and she embraced it, and I thought she did a great job. Also, I gotta touch on Angela Bassett as Queen Ramonda. She is unbelievable in this movie. She's the queen of Wakanda, and similar to Shuri, she is required to take on a much bigger role in this movie. You know, a lot's falling on her. She's the queen, she's the ruler right now, she's dealing with the problems in the nation, she's also mourning her son. But she's got a few moments in this movie that really just, whoa, knocked me on my seat. I was not expecting that from her. She's got a few monologues that just blow you away. You get a brief taste of one of them in the trailer, but you don't see it full force until you get to the movie. And again, it's raw emotion, it is real, it is powerful. Some people out there are campaigning for her to get a Best Supporting Actress nomination. I have no problem with that at all. In fact, I'd be a little shocked if she didn't get serious consideration. We all know the Academy doesn't really love to acknowledge Marvel movies all that much, but I'll be campaigning hard for her to at least get a nomination for it. And that's what I'll just say right now. When this movie wants to be emotional, it does hit you. None of it absolutely floors me. I thought emotionally this movie was just going to wipe me out. Now I can only speak for myself. It may wipe you out. It all depends on who you are. But it does, I do feel it. When characters are mourning, you feel it. You feel like you're mourning with them. When, you know, a moment is sad or a moment is emotional, you definitely feel it, and it has that effect on you. I will say this, especially in the mid-credits scene. The mid-credits scene, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but that was, well, that one hit me right here. That hits you right in the heart, hits you right in the feels, and I loved it for the movie. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was the perfect mid-credit scene for this movie. I have no idea what its future could mean, but I do think it was the perfect mid-credit scene. But you know, with the MCU, we gotta touch on the villain of the movie, and you know, the MCU doesn't have a great track record for villains, but I will say, as up and down as Phase 4 has been, I think for the most part, they've really nailed their villains, and they once again do here. Namor is a great one, because you really do understand him. You understand that he is fighting for his people, for his nation, for his kingdom, and they see him as this god. They see him as this protector. They see him as someone who is going to lead them to just the perfect life, the perfect kingdom. And as a result, when he feels there is a threat out there to his people, to his world, he will not take prisoners. He will kill anyone that he believes is a threat, and that's where his dynamic with the nation of Wakanda comes in, and it's a really compelling one. Also, I wasn't really sure how he was going to hang with these people. Like, I don't really know much about Namor, like what he could do, what his powers were. I know he was kind of the Marvel version of Aquaman, but I'm going to tell you right now, I think he would blow the DC's Aquaman out of the water. Literally and figuratively. The things he can do when he fights, when he battles, I'm just like, yeah, okay, shit, you are that powerful. But not even just him. I absolutely loved the civilization that was Talokan. I loved seeing just how it looked, what, you know, the culture behind it that it appeared. I loved seeing his army and just seeing what they were capable of doing. I really hope they explore more on that. And you know what? If he got his own movie or a Disney Plus show, I am all for that. I really want to see them explore more on this. I really hope we see a lot more of Namor in future MCU projects. Also, I'm going to say this much. If there is something that this movie I felt improved over the original Black Panther, I thought the action and the visual effects were done better in this movie. I think they were filmed a lot better. I think the visuals looked great in this one. Not that they didn't look good for the most part in the first Black Panther, but, you know, you think of the moment where, you know, T'Challa and Killmonger are falling down into the canyon and they're fighting, and you're like, this is very clearly CGI. The CGI in this one is much less noticeable. Everything looked very real and very cool. Also, the action for me was filmed a lot better. It was filmed a lot more crisp and well done. Everything just flowed really well. I feel like the action in this one was a lot more condensed, a lot more focused, a lot more polished. It knew what it needed to be. I think Ryan Coogler learned from the mistakes that he made in the last one. Again, not saying the action in the last one was bad. It was good, but he knew where to make improvements, and he made them here. Also, almost completely forgot to touch on this, but Riri Williams, I actually really liked her. I thought she was going to annoy me. I thought she was going to, you know, kind of be that girl. She's like, here so I can prove something. I actually really liked her. I really liked her chemistry with Shuri. I liked seeing the genius side that she brought to the table. I liked seeing those two work together. Kind of reminded me of when, Hulk and Iron Man would work together in previous MCU movies. I like seeing it when two supermind geniuses come together to do stuff. And yeah, not gonna lie, I like what they did with Ironheart. I'm very interested to see what they do with that character and that hero in more future Marvel projects. I will definitely be checking out that Disney Plus show. I'm interested to see where they go with it. However, I have to say this right now. I don't think this is a better movie to the first Black Panther. Now, it was going to be really hard. It was basically going to be impossible for it to usurp Black Panther because, Chadwick Boseman isn't in this. But that being said, this movie is not without its flaws. This movie is almost 3 hours long. I think it's around 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'll tell you this much right now. It didn't need to be that long. There are some scenes that drag on. There are some scenes where you're kind of in a spot in the story that you don't really feel that invested in. There are moments you can watch this movie and you can, thread out areas where you're just like, I just don't feel that needed to be in there. This probably could have been around 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I don't think much would have changed. And also, I'm going to say this right now, I don't think the story in this one flows as well as the first one did, because I think in this one, there is a lot more going on. You have, the characters mourning the loss of T'Challa. You have the problems going on in the nation of Wakanda. You have Namor's story and what's going on with his nation and his people. You have Everett Ross and his situation with the government going on. You gotta have your moments with M'Baku, so he's gonna get his screen time. It's just, the movie doesn't always flow very well. It's always kind of jumping all over the place to different situations and different storylines. It didn't always feel very focused. As a result, the movie can feel jarring, and again, I think that's something that, kind of takes you out of the movie a little bit. But all in all, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, it's a very worthy sequel and a very worthy entry to the MCU. The cast all across the board do a really good job. Oh yeah, Lupita Nyong'o, she's great in this movie. I almost forgot to talk about her, but I liked seeing her role and her dynamic given her relationship with T'Challa. Namor was a sweet villain and a really good character. Riri Williams, again, very good character. Really excited to see more of her. The action is great. I love exploring more of Wakanda. I really loved exploring more of Talokan. I liked seeing more of that underwater city, that underwater kingdom. The action is a lot of fun. I think it's a little bit more polished than it was in the last one. The pacing's not always the best. Movie is a bit longer than it needed to be. But yeah, emotionally, when this movie wants to hit you, it didn't quite completely floor me. It might do that for you, but I definitely felt it here. And I think it did its job when it came to sending an emotional tone and message to everybody. But in the end, I think Chadwick Boseman would have been proud of this movie. I think he would be glad it happened. Long live the king. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. And as always, don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.